District to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brack and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Rotary Central, for more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. Fidelity Bank, for all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you. And Roper's Janitorial, complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Monday, the 14th day of October 2019. I trust that everyone had a peaceful, restful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who were blessed with the showers last night, I trust and hope that you appreciated the rain as well. We certainly need it. Those trees, plants, they all need that nice fresh water. It is surprising how the vegetation, the plants, flowers flourish when that natural rainwater comes down, other than using the processed water. You see the difference in the plants when that occurs as well. For those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we want to urge you to be extremely careful. Please ensure that you observe the rules of the road. If you're a cyclist, pedestrian, operating any type of motorized vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands, always remember that the life you save may be your own. For those of you who have lost loved ones during the past few days or weeks, we want to send out our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and trust that your faith will take you through these very, very challenging times. Those of you who are celebrating birthdays today, I want to wish you a happy birthday as well, or if you celebrated one over the weekend also. And folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the very busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Phone lines are always open. There is always someone there waiting to take your calls. I should say, there is always that radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls, because 9 times out of 10, she's the person who's in the control room as well. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and the 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us on 925-3261. where you can leave us a text message or send us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And, of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. This morning, it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me again none other Then the Premier of the Cayman Islands, the Honorable Alden McLaughlin. Good morning, Mr. Premier. Welcome back to For the Record, sir.
Good morning, OC. It's good to be back. Good morning to the listening public.
Quite a bit has been happening, over the past few weeks, past few months. We had Monaco trip. We had an announcement of the referendum date. The referendum bill has been gazetted. Looking forward to the meeting of the Legislative Assembly. And last week as well, we also had the Minister of State for the Armed Forces in the United Kingdom spend a few days down here as well, and we're looking forward to you sharing whatever you can with that. We know that the big news has to do with the possibility of the establishment of a regiment here in the Cayman Islands. We know that there are other jurisdictions, overseas territories, for example, Bermuda. They have the Bermuda Regiment. As a matter of fact, we have benefited from their presence in the Cayman Islands after hurricanes as well. So, Mike, it's yours, sir.
Thank you, OC. One thing I tell people about this job is that it's got its stresses and its strains without question, but there's never a dull moment.
That's true.
I never find myself bored. There are always a range of issues that you have to grapple with. And some very positive things. I've been talking at the invitation of the governor with the UK about the possibility of establishing a Cayman regiment, which would be able to assist, provide humanitarian assistance and disaster recovery, as well as being able to assist further with the keeping of law and order and to provide a sort of backup force in the way that we have the Special Constabulary, which is a volunteer organization. This would be a similar sort of arrangement. It was something that we actually considered in the aftermath of Hurricane Ivan when I was in government for the first time between 2005 and 2009, but at that point the UK was not at all inclined to support it. There was a different government in power in the UK at the time anyhow. But I think that all of us, the UK included, have realized in recent years how important it is to have a group of trained people who are quickly available in the aftermath, in the run-up to and in the aftermath of any of these serious events. And the frequency and growing strength of the cyclonic activity around the region, around the world, is such that we need all the help and all the preparation we can possibly have. So I see that, the UK sees that, my government sees that as a good basis on which to proceed down this particular road. So what's going to happen now is they're going to send out a team, a scoping team from the UK between now and Christmas, who will make certain assessments here as to what we need, the interest and availability of people to do it, and then make a recommendation. Also, we'll have some better idea about what the cost of all of this will be. Now, what is being proposed is not a standing army or anything like that. Right. What is being proposed is a volunteer regiment of reservists. So you'd be able to. We figure maybe 3-4 people would be full time to run the organization, but everybody else would be reservists, so that you would keep your regular job, but you'd get special training. The UK have indicated to us that 8-week courses at Sandhurst in the UK will be available for those who wish to become officers. For others, they'll be training locally and regionally. And initially, the concentration is on the kind of work that the Royal Engineers do. people who are trained to be able to assist in the aftermath of or the run up to serious events, help with disaster recovery, and so forth. So that's going to be our initial concentration, and the first sort of group that we are looking at would be 35 to 40 people initially, and then we will allow. Over time, we'll allow the organization to grow organically as we see how it works. So we start relatively small and be able to make assessments and adjustments along the way.
What would be the age range, and would there be a specific time period that you would serve for, or could you repeat what in the military they call a tour of duty? Can you repeat after a period of time? For instance, in Bermuda, I believe it is 2 years and 3 months or something like that they serve in Bermuda.
Well, we haven't turned our attention to that level of detail yet, but there would be no limitation on age. Because a lot of the skills that you need are not necessarily physical skills that you have to go out there and cut down trees and drive heavy equipment or whatever the case may be. There's a need for a lot of the softer skills, and age, or certainly the upper age limit, I think would be very, very flexible. And we also see a natural sort of feed through from the cadet corps as well. These things can mesh. But a lot of that detail, or in fact all of that detail, is yet to be worked out. We are not inventing the wheel, because Bermuda has a regiment, Montserrat has a regiment, and then obviously we'll have the benefit of the UK's experience, because in the UK now the reservists are treated just the same as the regular army. They wear the same uniform, they get the same training, they get the same pay, except it's on a per diem basis. You only get paid when you're actually being trained, or you've been called out to deal with a situation. Okay.
We have one caller on hold. Ms. Susan, let's take the caller before we go to the break, if you will. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Woolsey.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And Mr. Premier?
Good morning, sir.
I had a question, not on the subject that you're on, if you don't mind. I have to be short. I noticed in the news recently that we are getting ready to, I guess, disclose the, the beneficial ownership situation. I hope we're not going to be a guinea pig with this before the rest of the world introduces this. I understand it would be in conjunction with them, but I don't think we should be the first one to offer it. So I don't know what the plans are pertaining to this, but isn't that something that's going to be detrimental for our business, especially if the rest of the world doesn't comply?
Well, our commitment is contingent upon the EU, the UK, and the other countries going along with this, and it's not until 2023. So we are more than comfortable with the decision we've taken. It has the full support of the financial services industry. The game has changed so much over the last decade in particular, and Cayman does not need to trade on the basis of secrecy. Transparency and a squeaky clean jurisdiction must be our stock in trade going forward. Otherwise, Cayman is going to continue to be hammered at every opportunity by all of those naysayers who think that our financial services industry is just a sham to hide dirty money and to facilitate tax cheating. So we have made some conscious policy decisions in conjunction with Cayman Finance and the financial services industry, and this move by us is a carefully considered one.
Mm-hmm. But
I'm not doubting that. Sorry, I'm not doubting that you must have given us some thorough consideration. I just hope that it's a date set for everybody to deal with and not be following months after, or years after by certain countries. I might not be as familiar with what's in place at this time. I know it's been a lot of changes financially or through the requirements, but I just thought I would stick a pin here and say, don't let us be the guinea pig to go and jump into this before the rest of the world is prepared to do it, whether it's detrimental to us in a sense or not. I think the rest should be compliant as well as we are. So that was all I had in mind. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, and I just repeat, our commitment is contingent upon the EU, in particular, moving as well.
We will move when everybody else moves.
Yes. But what we wanted to signal, as the Crown dependencies have, is our willingness to stay current with what the global standards are, rather than stay behind and continue to be hammered as a jurisdiction that's not prepared to be compliant in this way, and to face again the likelihood of another attempt by the UK Parliament to legislate for us. Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Susan, you said we're going to take a break. We have another caller that we will take that caller as soon as we return from this commercial break. Caller, please hang in there. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
Land ownership, like many societies, has been extremely important to the Cayman Islands. Outside of the land grants of 1735 to 1742, the traditional Caymanian method of acquiring land ownership was to claim, mark, work, and build on any unused tract of land. Although the informal system worked well in the earlier days, a more robust system was put into place, which would be to everyone's best interest. The Land Registration Act passed in September 1850, and an official registrar of lands was appointed. Former slaves were able to obtain title to their homes, and larger landowners obtained stronger titles, which permitted them to profit by selling surplus land. The system seems to have worked almost too well, as concerns regarding land ownership became virtually obsolete, and the relatively modest population size did not deplete land resources or create a competitive market. It would not be until 1960 that the land registrations would undergo significant change in order to keep pace with the influence of modern development.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
540 months.
16,425 days.
394,200 hours.
45 years.
That's how long we've been committed to serving you, and we won't stop there. Over the years, we have proudly grown with Cayman, making a difference in the community. That's why we're here, to stand by you.
We are Cayman National.
And we thank you for standing by us for 45 years and counting.
Have you seen the latest? Cayman has been ranked the most expensive place to live. It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices at Ropers. Ropers Janitorial, 949-2511. Email janitorial@ropers.ky. Clean up your spending with Ropers Janitorial, 949-2511. Ropers Janitorial also offers complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time. Ropers Janitorial, 949-2511.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family.
Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
Congratulations, I hear the family is expanding.
Yes, our family is growing bigger, but I don't know how we're going to get around. Our old car just doesn't have enough room.
You should head over to Vamp Motors and ask about the Toyota Rush. It's a 7-seater SUV with lots of room and safety features, and it's on sale for just $21,900.
Rush in to Vamp Motors for the best deal of the year on the Toyota Rush SUV. Save up to $2,600 with Vamp cashback and the Toyota factory rebate going on right now. Fuel efficient, stylish, roomy, and loaded with safety features. The Rush is the perfect SUV for you and your family, starting from just $21,900. Visit Vamp Motors and drive your deal home today while stock lasts.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
In 1996, Rotary Club Central led the way initiating a disaster fund to prepare and assist our community toward recovery. The Rotary Clubs of the Cayman Islands then expanded this valuable instrument, the Rotary Cayman Disaster Fund. Thereafter, Rotary District 7020, a group of 86 clubs over 10 countries in 16 islands across the Northwest Caribbean, grew this idea, the Rotary District 7020 Disaster Fund. Today, this Rotary Central idea has worked relief and recovery, assisting communities throughout this region. Rotary, with you before, during, and after. Rotary, connecting the world.
Sometimes things just don't go as planned. That's why you need contractor insurance from Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Ensure you're covered in the event of property damage and third-party injury or damage claims during your construction projects. And with Fidelity Insurance Brokers, you can be sure you are getting competitive pricing and superior customer service. Call us today for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, none other than the Premier of the Cayman Islands, Honorable Alden McLaughlin, and we will be joined by the Minister for Tourism and his Chief Officer after the 8 o'clock news as well. We have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Real good, thanks, and good morning to the Premier, Mr. McLaughlin.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. McLaughlin, my question this morning is to you, sir. From what I'm understanding, is that the memorandum date for the voting is on the 10th of December. Is that correct?
Sorry?
Referendum, you meant the referendum date?
Yeah, on the 10th of December, is that correct?
No, it's the 19th.
The 19th.
Thursday the 19th, yeah.
Okay. You know, that's during the Christmas time, and has anybody seriously considered the problem it's going to cause with the and from before that, I understand that on that particular day, there's 4 cruise ships that are in. Is that correct also?
I don't know. I don't know the cruise ship schedule. I can't comment on that. But it's going to be a public holiday. Although licensed establishments, restaurants and bars and so forth will not have to close because we're trying to minimize disruption as much as possible. Schools will be out, and so we're hoping to avoid as much or to create as little disruption as we possibly can and get through with this.
Yeah, my understanding, Mr. McLaughlin, is that there's 4 cruise ships that is going to be in, and a lot of the businesses that is going to have to be open that particular day for the cruise ship, is that they are very concerned the effect it's going to have on their business. So I honestly don't think that particular day is the right day. I think it should be somewhere around January when everybody is back. I mean, the holiday is fine, making it a public holiday is fine, but you have to consider also that there's going to be a lot of people that is off the island, that is leaving, going on vacation, and they're not going to have the opportunity unless it by ballot vote or some sort of vote that they can otherwise do. But a lot of people I've spoke to is seriously concerned if those cruise ships are coming in that day, that people are solely relying on their businesses, having to let all of their staff off and everything else to go to this vote. And I mean, they're very seriously concerned about what it's going to cost them that day. It's going to cost them a lot more than what they're going to make just in order to let their people go to this vote, and then they're going to be profitable. So I think you should seriously look into that a bit more and take it a bit more under consideration that the date should be changed. And I'm sure that a lot of people would probably agree with January. I think would be a much more suited date to how this when everybody's back on the island, and the process I think would go a lot smoother. So thank you very much for listening to me, Mr. McLaughlin, and OC, have a good day.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you. You do as well. Sure.
Just let me say that it doesn't matter when we have it, it is going to be disruptive but it's part of the democratic process. We are trying to minimize as far as possible. If we have it in January, we're going to stop another school day, because in fact 2 school days, because we need it's not just a matter of the schools being out.
You have to prepare.
We will be taking usually between 8 and 10 schools to use as for the polling stations. So we have really thought about, given the time that we have to deal with, we have really thought about what is the least disruptive time that we can possibly do this. It doesn't matter when we do it in the high season. They're going to be cruise ships, and there's going to be disruption. We are doing our very best to minimize it. The time frame is not driven by us. It's driven by the length of time that CPR has taken to get to this point. 1 year of collecting signatures, then the verification process. That's what's driven the date. Mm-hmm. It's not the government. The government has gone out of its way to facilitate this process. We stopped. We paused any further contractual movements until the verification process was complete. Once they achieved the number, I made an announcement and said the government would not proceed to sign a contract until the outcome of the referendum was known. This is seriously impacting government's ability to move forward with a project. And we understand that. We understand and respect the constitutional obligations and the democratic process. So I'm not complaining about that, but I'm saying the government cannot sit around waiting until all of the stars have aligned before we actually move ahead. We are trying to get the process completed. If the result of the referendum is such that the project is halted, then it's halted and the government can move on and do something else. Yep. If it isn't, we need to get on with the project and get it started.
Okay, folks, we reached the top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Price Right is a minute after 8.
Priced Right is Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore, making your dollar go further with huge savings and no membership fees. Get more of the things you use every day at the right price. But it's not just grocery and health and beauty. Priced Right has a full range of products from office to automotive, patio furnishings to kitchen appliances, and even electronics. And since warehouse prices mean savings for you, everything is priced right at Priced Right, Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Sagicor. Let us put a smile on your face. Call 949-8211.
Access. Information. Your community. News and information. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. As the Cayman Islands observes World Mental Health Day on Thursday, a special event is hosted at the Hartwell Theatre. As CIGTV's Jay Earhart reports, the theme was the relationship between mental health and domestic violence.
The program featured a performance of the play Downside Up by Dr. Frank McField. Mental Health Commission Chair Dr. Mark Lockhart explains why organizers selected the drama, which he tells the story of a child who is the victim of domestic abuse.
This event came together primarily through the desires of the mental health department at the Cayman Islands Hospital that puts on this type of program every year in concert with the Mental Health Commission of the Cayman Islands. So planning started several months ago, and it was actually the idea of Mr. Ken Figuera, who is the occupational therapist in the mental health department, that saw the play, Downside Up, and felt that it was such a powerful play from a mental health and a psychological aspect and the cultural aspect of it, that it would have been a great idea to put it on for World Mental Health Day and to bring segments of the community in to see it, especially the young people.
Dr. Lockhart notes that the World Mental Health Day Symposium began with the Mental Health Department at the Health Services Authority.
A major part of mental health in general comes from several different origins. So there's a biological aspect to mental health, there's an environmental aspect in terms of what we go through and experience, and then there are personality differences that contribute. But all of those things start with the family. And that's where a lot of these things start. So this play was very poignant in terms of how it highlighted the conflict going on in family, things like abuse, domestic violence, violence in general, illness, hiding things, denial. All of these things start at an early age, generally in early environments and family, and can lead to future problems down the line. So today was really highlighting the contributing that the family has in terms of our mental health and our problems with our mental health.
The performance was preceded by a presentation on strengthening healthcare providers' response to domestic violence, and a panel discussion on the same subject concludes activity.
Her Majesty's the Cayman Islands Prison Service recently held 2 graduation ceremonies to celebrate the completion of 2 Prison Fellowship International programs. Prison Director Stephen Barrett says they are committed to providing their inmates with rehabilitation programs designed to equip them with skills to readjust into society upon release, as well as an opportunity to reflect on their actions and the resulting consequences.
The purposes of detention is to offer individuals a chance to come to terms with the decisions they made and the circumstances that brought them to committing their crime, as well as the impact their crime has had on others. It's important to us that those in our custody are provided with the tools they need to make informed choices about their lives going forward. These programs are very challenging. They also offer inmates hope for a transformed future.
Last week, 9 inmates graduated from the Prisoner's Journey program, bringing the total number to 73, and 12 inmates graduated from the Sycamore Tree Project, totaling 183 graduates since its creation in 2016. And are you ready to say goodbye to a few inches of hair? The 19th annual Cut-A-Thon for breast cancer awareness hosted by Eclipse Hair Design and Day Spa is looking for you. Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego speaks with Eclipse's Darla Dilbert with more.
Eclipse owner Darla Dilbert and her sister Darna established this event in loving memory of an aunt who suffered in silence and passed away to breast cancer over 20 years ago. They decided to use their profession of cosmetology in creating a fun and rewarding way for the community to benefit from, while also raising awareness of breast cancer. With other salon and spa professionals joining forces, they began Eclipse Hair Design and Day Spa annual Cut-A-Thon. Each year, they raise funds for the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens Breast Cancer Awareness Fund. Now in its 19th year, the annual Cut-A-Thon for Breast Cancer Awareness Fund will be hosted at Eclipse Hair Design and Day Spa located at Market Street, Camana Bay on Sunday, October 20th from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. They'll be offering services to the public, including wet cuts for men, women, and children, mini manicures, and eyebrow threading. All proceeds raised are donated to the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens Breast Cancer Awareness Fund to help in providing education on early detection and mammograms for men and women who are otherwise unable to afford them. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
For more information, you can call 945-1188. That's your latest news. I'm Carsley Fuller.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Sagicor. Let us put a smile on your face. Call 949-8211.
Think about something that makes you happy. Did it make you smile? We know it did, because that's what we do at Sagicor. Put smiles on our clients' faces every day. With a large range of products to cover your family, it's no wonder most locals choose Sagicor for their life insurance needs. Serving the community for over 25 years. Let us put a smile on your face. Call your Sagicor advisor today. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
The Cayman Islands Seafarers Association wishes to remind all members that there will be a general meeting on Tuesday, October 15th at 7:30 p.m. in the Seafarers Hall, 11 Victory Avenue, Prospect. It is expected that all members come dressed in their CISA shirts. Transportation will be provided as follows. 3 buses will leave from the West Bay Town Hall at 6 p.m. The Barnes bus route in Georgetown leaves the public library parking area at 6:30, stopping at the Cayman Compass building and the airport Fosters. The bus marked Boba $1 public transport and is blue in color will do pickups from British Caymanian, Uncle Bill's, Walker's Road, Shedden Road, and Crew Road. In East End, the bus pickups are the primary school parking lot, the gas station, and wreck of the 10 sails starting at 5:45. In Northside, pickups are at the Chisholm store and the soccer field starting at 6:15. In Bodden Town, pickups are at Lorna's gas station at 6:45, and in Savannah, pickups at the gas station next to Wendy's at 7 p.m. They look forward to seeing everyone on Tuesday, October 15th at 7:30 p.m. at the Seafarers Hall.
Hi, it's me, your teenager. So I did an anonymous drug survey at school in 2018. The results revealed that a 13-year-old is likely to try vaping for the first time. And it showed that 3 in every 10 teens have already tried vaping at least once in their lifetime. Over the 3,000 teens that took the survey, 76.3% said that their parents have had the conversation with them about drugs and alcohol. Anyways, I was watching a commercial and this really cute guy said that vaping is much safer than smoking. And he used a vape that looks like a USB and has no smoke. It was so cool.
Contact the National Drug Council and learn about the Parents as Preventers training. This message was brought to you by the National Drug Council and Radio Cayman.
The Pirates Week National Song Competition is back Saturday, November 9th. This exciting cultural event showcases the best talent in the Cayman Islands with $10,000 in cash to be won. If you've got the lyrical and vocal skills, visit piratesweekfestival.com to enter today. Entry deadline Friday, 18th October. The Pirates Week National Song Competition is sponsored by AI Rentals, Ace Hardware, the Ministry of Culture, the Tourism Attraction Board, and the Cayman Music and Entertainment Association. This ad is brought to you by Radio Cayman.
The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Thinking of decorating your home or your apartment? Then Super Stitch is the place for all your household needs. We have sheets, comforters, bathroom accessories, curtains, and a whole lot more. We are the original curtain store with curtains for every room in the house. Some special now in curtains for $10 a panel. Yes, just $10 a panel. Come see us today at Super Stitch. Super Stitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
A pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 83 degrees. Relative humidity is 93%. Barometric pressure 29.90 inches and rising. The wind is east at 9 knots. Overnight low temperature was 76. Synopsis indicate isolated showers expected today as an area of low pressure over the southwest Caribbean drifts northwest over the Yucatan Peninsula. Radar images show scattered showers around the Cayman area moving west. The National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida is issuing advisories on Tropical Storm Melissa. For further information on Subtropical Storm Melissa, you can visit www.nhc.noaa.gov. This system poses no threat to the Cayman Islands. Now the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today calling for partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s today. Your winds will be east at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. And the forecast for tonight calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of late night showers, and temperatures falling to the upper 70s tonight. Your winds will be east to southeast 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 9:43, low tide this afternoon at 3:38, and a high tide again tonight at 10 minutes past 9. The sun will set this evening at 2 minutes after 6 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:20. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through tomorrow morning, with a decrease in cloudiness thereafter as the area of low pressure drifts further west of the Cayman area.
Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center was the proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Super Stitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky.
Thinking of decorating your home or your apartment? Then Super Stitch is the place for all your household needs. We have sheets, comforters, bathroom accessories, curtains, and a whole lot more. We are the original curtain store with curtains for every room in the house. Some special now in curtains for $10 a panel. Yes, just $10 a panel. Come see us today at Super Stitch. Super Stitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Rising Stars Dance Ministry is proud to present the annual Dance for Christ, Saturday, November 16th at the Church of God Chapel Family Life Center, featuring visiting U.S. artist Malia Bailey, UCCI Dance Group, Dream Chasers, JJZ Dance Ministry, Dance Unlimited, J Prophet, Famous Cousins, Cernan Biblical, Victory Tabernacle Dance Group, Christ Cathedral Youth Choir. MC for this event will be Cheryl T. and many more local talents. Tickets are only $10 pre-sold, $15 at the gate, and children under 12 are only $5. Tickets are on sale now at Funky Times and Christ Cathedral. Dance for Christ is proudly sponsored by Burger King, Domino's, Wendy's, Link International, Funky Times, and Radio Cayman. This November 16th. Don't miss out on Dance for Christ. Brought to you by the Rising Stars Dance Ministry.
This is JJ the Iceman. This is JJ the Iceman.
This is where the ride begins. A magical musical journey.
on Radio Command, 8 to 10 on Friday nights, 8 to midnight.
Music Express.
Radio K-Man's Music Express is brought to you by Taster's Choice, home of the $3 meal special.
As a Caymanian, it's very important to me that projects like this are thought of thoroughly before continuing.
My question is, do we need it? And I've not yet been fully convinced that we need it, nor have I been fully convinced that we don't need it. So
what guarantee do we have that these ships are going to continue to come?
Please make the right decision.
Please don't let the catchy songs overturn you. Please support the referendum. Please ensure that you are supporting sustainable tourism, not just money-making tourism.
If the project plans have changed, even though it might be insignificant on paper, it's going to be significant for the environment.
They need to release official information, official facts.
That's where I am right now. I want to know, I want more information on do we need it.
It's your vote, your future.
So make a decision based on fact.
You deserve the whole truth.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at traffic coming from the east on Linford Pearson Highway. Busy traffic and steady traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way and Huldah Avenue. Traffic is steady. Crew Road, some section busy, other section steady. Moderate flow of traffic on Godfrey Dixon Way and Eastern Avenue. Light traffic coming from West Bay 4-way stop, as well as traffic is light on Owen Roberts Drive. On Northsun Road, traffic is moderate. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll update you traffic-wise. Have a good morning. Drive safe, Cayman Islands.
Do you ever have those days when you have to get a super early start, or you're out late at night and want something fresh and healthy to eat? Subway has now opened their third 24-hour location for you early birds and night owls. Subway Countryside in Savannah is now open 24 hours. So now you can grab any of Subway's fresh menu items any time of the day at 3 convenient locations: Countryside in Savannah, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers West Bay. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Honorable Alden McLaughlin, Premier of the Cayman Islands. We have also been joined by the Honorable Moses Colonel, Deputy Premier and Minister for District Administration, Tourism and Transport, also with us. Chief Officer in the Ministry, Mr. Strand Borden, and Mr. Peter Ranger, who is the Chief Project Manager at the Public Works Department. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. Thanks for having us here.
I believe we still have a caller on hold, Ms. Susan. That caller, I believe, has been on hold since 8 o'clock. So we want to ensure that we don't miss that caller. They have been so patient and chose to stay on the line while we did the news. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor, and to your guests. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. My name is Tara Ebanks. I'm a registered voter for Georgetown South, and I've been basically engaging in our democracy since I turned 18. I had the pleasure, Mr. Premier, when you were the Minister for Education, you took the time to meet with me.
I remember.
Oh, wonderful. And we had a meeting about education, and what I didn't understand was there were things at the time that the Premier or the Leader of Government Business, I can't remember the formal title, he was doing things and saying things that at a young age were confusing for me. And I remember wondering why people weren't listening to you and why they weren't listening to the opposition at the time. And I remember you told me something really powerful. I said, what's the point of opposition? And you said it's to create balance, and it's to make sure that things land in an even place and to make sure that there's fair representation. This question is more about our democracy than anything else. In any previous election that I've participated in as a voter, there's been no drinking. I thought that we were a Christian island. Our Constitution says that we're a Christian island. And as much as I understand we don't want to disrupt business, the opportunity to participate, days before Christmas, I've had to change my plans because I have to be here. I have to make sure that my ballot is cast. And so I'm making sure that I'm physically here, even though that disrupts my Christmas plans.
But you could apply. You could apply for a postal ballot if you're going away. You don't have to disrupt your plans in that way.
Yeah, but it is disruptive because it's not convenient for me, and I want to make sure that my vote counts. And I'm not sure that I have a whole lot of trust. I want to make sure that I'm there, and I want to make sure that I cast my ballot. I guess my question is this: as a Christian island, in every other election, and even I think in the government-initiated one-man, one-vote, when we were able to cast our ballots, there was no drinking. I thought it was against the Constitution. I thought it was illegal to be drinking and serving alcohol. So as much as we don't want to disrupt the elections or the normal flow of business, why did the government choose to have this referendum at a time that's so busy for so many Caymanians, and a time that why are people allowed to drink on a day when they should be being serious? They should be giving it thought. They should be sober-minded. That's my question.
Thank you very much, caller, Mr. Premier.
Well, I've answered this before, but I'll answer it again. The date for the referendum has been driven by the time it took the CPR to collect the signatures and for the verification process to be completed, along with the time necessary for the publication of the referendum bill and the 6 weeks, the minimum of 6 weeks which the elections office needs to be able to carry out the preparations for the elections, including arranging for the provision of postal and availability of postal ballots and mobile voting. So that's how we get to the 19th of December. The reason why we have taken the decision to allow liquor license establishments and bars and restaurants to stay open is because it is simply too disruptive to businesses, especially around this time. Many businesses have arranged their Christmas parties, their Christmas luncheons, all of that sort of stuff. And as I said, we are doing our very best to minimize disruption to the way people live their lives, including ensuring that we are at the end of the school year, so we minimize the disruption there and don't wind up having to close schools for 2 days while we go through this process. Those who are going away, there's more than adequate time to now apply for a postal ballot. You don't need to disrupt your trip away or your vacation if you want to vote. We've done some research on this. I think Cayman is one of the very few jurisdictions in the world that actually pause everything for an election or a referendum. In most places, it's not even a public holiday. Business goes on, life goes on as normal. Those who wish to vote go and vote, and those who don't. But we haven't gone all that way. But I think Cayman is way beyond the days when as the old people used to believe, you could pay someone to vote by buying them a drink here or a drink there. Those people who believe one way or another in this referendum will come out and vote, or will make the necessary arrangements so they can vote remotely. Those that don't, then they simply don't. That's democracy.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. We have 4 callers, but we also want panel around the table to be able to establish their discussion as well. What we're going to do is we're going to accommodate these 4 calls, which is going to be between now and after we take this break and the next break, and then we want to close the phone lines off for a while to establish the topic and to get our panelists to weigh in on the discussion as well. Caller, good morning, and we're going to ask callers to please be as brief as possible also. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, am I on?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Allen, Fabian, Rambo.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, Mr. Allen, on the port topic now, right? The last thing I talked on it on air, right? 7 weeks ago. I suggest you need a facelift. And you tell me any more on that, right? You break her down, right? Elaborate on her. Mr. Allen, right? Equity, right? Quality of being system of commerce. You talking from Mr. Allen? Hello?
Go right ahead, caller.
Yeah, go ahead. You'll be listening.
Yeah, like I said again, equity, the quality of being system comrades, right? Benefit yourself in the long term. And Mr. Allen, find like I feel here, right? You are aware, right? Recession is imminent. And I also aware that you have something down the pipeline, how to revive ourselves in a feasible way, right? So, like I said again, on Friday I called in, the officer on, I tell them, say, listen, whatever parties that will come of it, we move on. Simple. Okay? And Mr. Allen, one thing I say to you, I hear you time and time again, you say, let's get it over with, that's it. I would win. Okay? Have a good day.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you very much, caller. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller.
Hello.
Good morning. Go right ahead.
Am I? Good morning, gentlemen. Just a couple of comments. First of all, about the 19th of December. As a woman living in Cayman for many years, it's such a stressful time with Christmas coming up, and I just don't see the 19th as being such a great date. There's so much happening, traffic, office parties. Why not put this on Heroes Day? It's already a national holiday in January. Is that a possibility? Just making a comment.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller, for that. I think we can grab another caller before we go to the break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. I'd like to just make a few comments to the
we're going to ask you to try to be as brief as possible, please.
I shall. And good morning to the gentleman in your studio.
Good morning. Good morning.
On the matter of the dark, and I'll be quite brief. There's one thing I'd like to mention, and in fact state that I lived all my life along the shoreline, or at least most of my life. I lived along the shoreline. Where our house was, we had two nice coves in the back, and seeing the sea, experiencing the sea, we lived it. We breathed the ocean and the ocean air. We know all about it. So when it came to 7 Mile Beach and the erosion of sand, and some of the talk that's going around is that once there was dredging anywhere near where the Georgetown Harbor is, it was very likely, in fact, in some cases it was stated emphatically that it would happen, that the beach would be eroded along 7 Mile Beach. It would take the sand away from 7 Mile Beach to fill up what had been dredged in Georgetown. What I experienced over the years, and I really don't need anyone to tell me what happened. I saw this. I lived it. I have seen beach erosion take place, whether it's a strong south or southwesterly wind or a northwesterly, to erode it to the point where the roots of the weeping willows, Australian pines, almond trees, grape trees, coca plum trees were exposed to the point that sometimes, say, the coconut palms would fall over. We could, as children, we could jump from the heights of 5 or 6 or maybe even higher to jump from where that beach had eroded down.
Caller, I'm going to ask you to please get to the point, please.
The point is that Mother Nature filled that beach back. And that happened over the years, sometimes 3 or 4 times a year. So it did nothing to 7 Mile Beach. And when the big Northwesters came, and everyone knows what it does to Georgetown Harbor and Georgetown and the waterfront, it did nothing to 7 Mile Beach. So I'm only saying I think that is one theory that can be debunked. And so the other thing is, I'd like to say that for those who have an opinion for or against, we can all have our opinion and still agree on some things. So let's not do anything else but tell the truth. Mm-hmm. And I'm very thankful that we have an opportunity in this country to do things. And I believe that, and I say this with why I'm passionate about it, I want to say that I am for the dock because I believe that it's the government's right and responsibility to ensure that they do everything possible to make provision for job opportunities, not just for the young people of today, but for the next generation.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. We have to go to a commercial break. We still have another caller on hold as well. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore.
Congratulations, I hear the family is expanding. Yes, our family is growing bigger, but I don't know how we're going to get around. Our old car just doesn't have enough room.
You should head over to Vamp Motors and ask about the Toyota Rush. It's a 7-seater SUV with lots of room and safety features, and it's on sale for just $21,900.
Rush in to Vamp Motors for the best deal of the year on the Toyota Rush SUV. Save up to $2,600 with Vamp cashback and the Toyota factory rebate going on right now. Fuel efficient, stylish, roomy, and loaded with safety features. The Rush is the perfect SUV for you and your family, starting from just $21,900. Visit Vamp Motors and drive your deal home today while stock lasts.
Have you seen the latest? Cayman has been ranked the most expensive place to live. It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices at Ropers. Ropers Janitorial, 949-2511. Email janitorial@ropers.ky. Clean up your spending with Ropers Janitorial, 949-2511. Ropers Janitorial also offers complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time. Ropers Janitorial, 949-2511.
Few people speak up when they witness cyberbullying. Logic is proud to present The Change Project, a 15-minute documentary that captures the reality of cyberbullying and the mental health impact on teens, parents, teachers, and families. It's part of a campaign that strives to make a difference in the community by promoting responsible internet and social media use in the Cayman Islands. Screening is at the Camana Bay Cinema on Friday, October 25th at 7 p.m. Afterwards, please join Logic for a family-friendly gathering at Abacus. RSVP to eventpro.ky.
Mark down the date of Saturday, November 2nd. Breeze Fusion 2019.
Are you ready? Yeah.
The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
Bigger and better.
Now featuring a 5K walk run
and a 10K run for half marathon trainers.
Join the fun and help raise funds for the Central Scranton Park and the NCVO.
Yes, Cayman Islands, it's back. Your chance to be healthy. Your chance to give back.
Save the date or register now at CaymanActive.com or at Radio Cayman Studio.
The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
Saturday, November 2nd.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it.
The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going to take the remaining calls that we have, 2 calls I believe, and then we're going to turn the mics over to our panelists for a while. Not that we're in any way trying to suppress anyone's ability to voice their views, but we do have guests in the studio, and you certainly will have an opportunity to comment on what they have to say when they make their presentation as well. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, Lucy. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you doing?
Not too bad. And good morning to your panel and the Honorable Alden McLaughlin.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling.
Yes, this is Moxham. Lennox Moxham. Mr. Premier.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for you. And you don't have to answer me as yet, but during the course of your stay at the station, do you believe in over-tourism? You don't have to answer it now. And if you believe in it, explain why or what was the main factor that you believe in it.
Can you explain for me what you mean by do I believe in over-tourism? I just want to make sure I understand the question so I can answer it properly.
You believe that a country or a destination can get too many tourists?
Absolutely.
All right, then, good. Now, when it comes to over-tourism, I don't need to say all of it, but when you need to read the Times on Friday, Spotlight on Tourism. Anyway, get back to the point about the holiday. That seemed to me that it was some sort of, special arrangement put in place. Because if you don't know, I can tell you, around the 19th, the 20th, the 21st, and 22nd of December, those days, the week before Christmas, is always considered a day when a lot of local people, they buy their local beef, their local this, their local that. They're shopping, they're getting ready for the holiday. Now, what would be in your best interest to cancel that day?
Okay, we got the question. Caller, we'll have him respond. We're going to take the last caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Hi, good day to all of you there in the studio. Thanks for taking my call. My name is Eden Hurlston, and I'm a voter in West Bay and a father. I'm also helping produce the NCVO Telethon and a couple of events to help them raise some money. I see that the 5K is also putting some money toward the NCVO. My question is very, very simple. There seems to be a tremendous budgetary surplus. It looked like, $216 million when it was last reported, including an unexpected $44.4 million windfall. There's $87,000.
Your question, caller, please.
I'm coming right to it.
Need you to be as brief as possible.
I'm coming right to it. There's $87,000 for buying radio ads for this port campaign, plus the other funds that have been put toward campaigning for the port. The NCVO serves Cayman families and children every single day, fostering kids, helping kids with a preschool, providing scholarships, providing lunches in Cayman Brac as well, Mr. Kirkconnell. They are always on the brink of closing.
Caller, I'm going to ask you one more time your question, please.
NCVO needs $1.6 million. Why can't this money be provided to them to help Cayman families and children?
Okay. Thank you very much, caller, for that. Gentlemen, we have several questions.
The government spends many, many millions of dollars a year helping families and children, not just through the Department of Children and Family Services and the Needs Assessment Unit, but more broadly. I suggest that if any organization is incapable of operating because it doesn't have the funding in place, it needs to examine its mandate and whether or not that service could be better provided through some other means. We sit down with organizations all the time and talk about how collectively government and the private sector organization can help to meet the varying needs of this community. We're more than happy to sit down with NCB or anybody else. But I suspect that question, because I know the individual's position on the port, because I've just read his article on CNS, it was a cynical question. It wasn't one that was made out of any honesty or desire to help NCBO. And it is regrettable that he would use the NCBO as part of his campaign against the port. But that's how it is. There's politics in everything.
Okay. I want to remind callers that we've closed off, temporarily closed off the phone lines so that we can establish the basis for a discussion, and that certainly will give you an opportunity later on when we open back the lines to focus your questions as well. I also want to remind you that you can send your questions to our WhatsApp number, 925-3261. You leave us a voice note. We will play that voice note over the air if it is possible, as well if it's short, or Ms. Susan will relay the question to me, and we will ask the question. We're trying to make as efficient use of the time that we have as possible. Minister Connor, to you, sir.
Thank you very much. OC, it's a pleasure to be on this morning. I believe that what we want to do is frame the reason for being here. We know that we're an island, group of three. We know that we depend on two different ports, the airport and the seaport. I believe that the conversation that we have been asked to provide information on is the carrying capacity and the cruise berthing facility, the cargo port. So I wanted to start off by talking about the responsibility of the government itself to provide economic opportunity for the people of the country. And the policy statements of this government have done just that. We've been involved in looking at economic opportunities for the people of this country in my tenure for this term, and Premier gave me the responsibility for tourism in the last term. So approximately 7 years we have looked at two things. One is the airport and one is the seaport from the standpoint of our tourism development and economic opportunity. So I just wanted to touch at how serious and what I believe successful we have been in our strategies to do that. And that will bring us back to the reason why the government has been so active and looks at the cruise berthing facility and the cargo port as an absolute necessity for the infrastructure of Grand Cayman. So when we looked at where we were and the two pillars that we have for this country, one being finance and one being tourism, we realized that we had opportunities in the tourism industry. We had to work very hard to put ourselves back into a competitive set based on what was happening in the region and other destinations globally. So we did a couple things, and we've done those extremely successful. We have the highest average daily rate in stayover. We have tremendous growth in stayover, and it's happened because of strategies and policies that this government has implemented, which we want to be able to do for cruise berthing cargo as well. So if I can just briefly say that when we looked at the opportunity for stayover, we realized that we were only using our bricks and mortar certain times of the year. So the carrying capacity of an island is based on what happens in 24 hours, what happens in a month, and how many people come and use that infrastructure. What we understood from stayover was that we had peaks and valleys. The valleys being May, summer months, September, October. And so we put a strategy in place to put no more stress on the infrastructure of the island, but to bring people when we had availability for them to be here. Now, that did a couple things for us. Number one, it created a flattened season for the business people who depend on tourism for this island. And it's being a tourism ambassador, being involved in the tourism industry is a very honorable profession that the government has a responsibility to do everything it possibly can to have oversight, partner with them, and let them be successful. So then that brings us, when you see what we were able to do with the new airport, the expansion of the airport that will be announced this week, again, lengthening the runway, and looking at the opportunity for where 80% of the passengers or visitors come from, which is cruise. Combining that with the absolute need for a cargo facility because of the growth of the island, we have to improve cargo. That's just a fact that we have to do. We also knew that we didn't have the money to build a cruise berthing facility or expand cargo at this point in time. So where we have landed is with a project that is going to be 100% financed by Verdant. It's going to be designed by Verdant. It's going to be maintained by Verdant, and it's going to be built by Verdant. We have been waiting on that information because they're the preferred bidder, and the government was thrilled to be able to share that information once it was available with the country itself. But one of the big questions we get is the carrying capacity of the island, and can the island, as Maxim just asked, can the island really take this? So I want to start off this morning by explaining the logic and the thought of why the government has pursued this and how the island is very, very capable of doing this.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we return, we will have the minister start with that explanation. And Minister, if you would, during the course of that explanation as well, if you could address the issue that some of the opponents for the port are saying now that the cargo facility was not a part of the discussion initially, and it has now become a part of it as well. If you could address that question that has been raised as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
Congratulations, it's a boy.
During the greatest events of your life, whether or not you have the right health insurance coverage should be the last thing on your mind. That's why at Fidelity Health, we are committed to helping you get matched with the right plan to suit you and your family. We offer a range of plans to suit your budget, plus access to a network of quality care throughout the Caribbean and the USA. You can relax and enjoy life's greatest moments when you are covered with Fidelity Health. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote.
In 1996, Rotary Club Central led the way initiating a disaster fund to prepare and assist our community toward recovery. The Rotary Clubs of the Cayman Islands then expanded this valuable instrument, the Rotary Cayman Disaster Fund. Thereafter, Rotary District 7020, a group of 86 clubs over 10 countries in 16 islands across the Northwest Caribbean, grew this idea, the Rotary District 7020 Disaster Fund. Today, this Rotary Central idea has worked relief and recovery, assisting communities throughout this region. Rotary, with you before, during, and after. Rotary, connecting the world.
okay. Where Ezekiel is? I can't tell the last time I seen him.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you where old Hart is, because I didn't see her in a long time.
It's okay. She pack up her bags and she gone England, my dear. Claim she gone looking work an opportunity.
Brown Ezekiel gone England to do the same thing, looking work.
Some Caymanians claiming they can't find work here at home, so they're packing up and running to cool Britannia.
Well, that is why we need that new cruise berthing facility. It's going to bring a whole lot of jobs when they're building it and when they're running it day by day by day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. First, they're going to have all kind of construction jobs, and then they're going to need more taxis, more tour guides, more craft vendors, more people working in the shops, more of all kind of jobs. Look here, the thing going to be a major source of employment for Caymanians.
I am sure then both Ezekiel and Old Hart can land a good job doing good work because of this new cruise berthing facility.
Brownie, get on the telephone, call Ezekiel and Old Hart, tell them plenty of work is going to be available in Cayman. Now is our time to shine and truly be Caymankind.
Support our port, support our tourism.
Looking forward, looking bright. Support our port, support our tourism.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Honourable Alden McLaughlin, Premier of the Cayman Islands, Deputy Premier and Minister for District Administration, Transport and Tourism, Honourable Moses Cockernell, Chief Officer Mr. Strand Bawden, and Mr. Peter Ranger, the Chief Project Manager at the Public Works Department. And we're going to hand the mic back over to Deputy Premier and Minister.
Thank you very much. OC, we were talking about where we are as far as carrying capacity and opportunity, the government policy of providing this opportunity and the responsibility that the government has to do this. It was a mandate that was given to us by the people when they looked at our manifesto and the last election when we put the unity government in place. So I want to just briefly talk about the carrying capacity of an island based on the daily arrivals. If you look at where we are with daily arrivals and clearly understand that when the CEO of Royal was here, he said on a couple different radio stations and meetings that the arrivals will be controlled by the Port Authority of the Cayman Islands. And it was extremely important for the government to negotiate the Port Authority being responsible and managing the new cruise berth and cargo facility. And the first and most important part of that is 90+% of the employees at the port are Caymanian, and we know that it'll continue to be Caymanian because it'll be managed and owned by PACI, and that is a government statutory authority. So if you look at the arrivals, the most arrivals we've had are 25,000 in a day, and that happens during the winter months. But if you look over the last 3 years, we've had probably 5 or 6 days, 22,000, 23,000. So let's say that is an established amount of people that have arrived here and have been taken on tour, have enjoyed the island, and have left under the present day situation of a tender operation, taking time to get them ashore, and spending, from the BRIA report, 4.1 hours average time in Cayman. With the expansion and improvement of the cruise berthing facility, the first thing you'll have is you'll have at least 20% more time in Cayman, which levels and pushes out the stress that happens in those hours when people are here. But the other part is, again, with the Port Authority being the guiding light and having the responsibility of saying how many people can come here on a daily basis, now we have a tool and we have an opportunity to move the number of arrivals for the year to take advantage of the days that we don't have many people here. So we know that we're going to get 6 months out of the year that have the majority, meaning 240,000 people come for the month. And we also know we have 6 months out of the year that we have 70,000, 80,000 people. So again, it was stated by our partners who come here in cruise berthing that they want to bring their larger ships that need berthing in the summer months. So if we want to grow our business and if we want to manage the arrivals in a timely way, and you want to take the opportunity to flatten out the business opportunity for the people involved in the industry so they don't have so many ups and downs. Perfect example being the month of September. Very slow business, hard to get business, but we would like to bring in September another 80,000 people to Cayman by cruise passenger, and that's 3 more ships a week basically when you think 5,000-6,000 on these large ships. So we take the opportunity. We don't bring any more cruise passengers on a daily basis. We bring them in the off season when we have space, capacity, availability, and most importantly, a need for that business to level out how your business runs. And we have now for the first time, which has been very clearly stated, in person by Michael Bailey, the CEO of Royal, but also supported by MSC and supported by Carnival, that they have ships that pass here during the summer months that are not stopping now, that will stop with cruise berthing. So we see then that we're at a fork at the road. We're at a fork in the road that if we don't do something, the status quo will not prevail, because the PwC report clearly states that the way of the future are the larger vessels. They have the highest spend. They bring more revenue to your country, and those are the ones that we target, that we want during the summer months to expand our business, to give opportunity. It has been really the first time that we have been able to start talking about this, because now we know what the cruise berthing facility delivery time is. We know what preferred partner has said, and we've also had the luxury of having the major cruise lines down and speaking quite openly on different radio shows and in meetings with many different organizations here on the island. So we'll be able to continue this conversation in a very meaningful way, not only from the standpoint of government policy, but from the standpoint of the partners themselves that come down. I just want to answer quickly the question you asked about the cargo itself.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What happens now with cargo is that it runs at night. You're able to use an asset that you have 24 hours a day, maximum return on the investment. But you also have the unpleasant experience of having to block off cargo during the day when the cruise ships are in, clean the port, get it prepared for the arrival of your guests, and then after they leave that afternoon, open a section of it back up to move cargo over it. So if Cayman is best in class, we are a proud people, and deservingly so, because of all the accomplishments we have. We, as a people, deserve and must put ourselves in a position to have the best that we can offer to cruise passengers as well. And we have put ourselves in a position that is very different from other ports, because in our arrangement, we actually manage the port itself. It is not managed by the preferred partner. So I think it's extremely important some of these types of answers come out, some of these types of information. I hear people saying they don't have enough information. We're trying to use every channel we possibly can to get the information out. We enjoy people sending us questions. We're quite happy to talk and give as much information as we possibly can.
Okay, top of the hour, 9 o'clock news. That's just headline news. Very short break. When we return, the conversation will continue, so please stay tuned. I also have several WhatsApp comments and questions that I will take the opportunity to read some of those when we return as well, so please stay tuned.
Radio Cayman.
Headline. Radio Cayman's newsroom. Headline. These are the biggest stories right now.
The Council for the National Trust for the Cayman Islands has asked its chairman, Andrew Gibb, to withdraw his resignation, which he tendered at the recent annual general meeting on September 18th, following public concerns over his involvement as the local architect acting on behalf of the proposed Beach Bay property. The trust says if Gibbs remains as chair, it in no way, quote, influences the trust's position on the Beach Bay development put forward by its executive director at the National Conservation Council general meeting, and it remains concerned by the impact on the turtle nesting beach. Syrian government forces have started to reach the north of the country hours after the government agreed to help Kurdish forces facing Turkey. The deal came after the U.S., the Kurds' main ally, said it would withdraw the remaining troops from northern Syria. Turkey began an offensive in the region last week, aiming to push Kurdish forces from the border region. And Spain's Supreme Court has sentenced 9 Catalan separatist leaders to between 9 and 13 years in prison for sedition over their role in an independence referendum in 2017. 3 other defendants were found guilty of disobedience and fined, but will not serve prison sentences. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, the Honorable Alden McLaughlin, Premier of the Cayman Islands, Deputy Premier and Minister responsible for District Administration, Tourism and Transport, the Honorable Moses Kokernal, Chief Officer in the Ministry, Mr. Strand Bawden, and Mr. Peter Ranger, who's the Chief Project Manager at the Public Works Department. I want to share some of the WhatsApp messages that we've received as well. I know I'm going to get criticized for this morning's show because of people not being able to express themselves as long or as much as they would like to, but I'm going to try to be as balanced as I possibly can be. This WhatsApp message reads, "Good morning, gentlemen. The cruise lines or government paying for tendering is like throwing money down the drain. I draw a parallel to paying rent on a mortgage or a mortgage." This one says, please share the provisional itinerary for the new cruise schedule. Please advise why some stores in Georgetown who are closed on Sundays when ships are in prevail over the natural capital of Cayman and those Caymanians who use the reefs for personal recreation on Sundays. This one, there's one in relation to good morning. We currently have an airport with inadequate cover from rain when entering the airport from the parking lot side, as well as a lack of jetways when embarking or disembarking. Can your guests please confirm if there will be adequate cover from the elements on the proposed seaport, as this is not apparent on the drawings presented? Gentlemen.
I'll take the first question on the airport and the port.
Okay.
The airport itself was built out of cash. It had to be financed in a way that allowed us to use cash flow. And we had a very tight budget that once we got into a position that we saw some other opportunities because the government was doing very well, we were able to put more cash in it. I think it's safe to say that the original drawings didn't have the canopies that are there now, and we certainly are not coming here to defend the canopies that are there. Our goal is to improve the airport as quickly as possible and do the things that are the priority for continuing to move that in the correct direction. There is a trigger event that means we will have to start building a new terminal a lot sooner, which obviously will have the jetways and will be designed in a way for arrival and departing and the weather situations. The cruise berthing facility and cargo facility are designed in a different way because of the Triple P partnership and the expertise of two of the partners, which are the two largest cruise lines in the world, that have had major input into providing the best in class opportunity for the customer itself. We operate under a guideline in the ministry that has given us success, and that success is make it easy and acceptable for the people that you're trying to attract, and they will come back and they will enjoy, and we like to under-promise and over-deliver, and that cruise berthing facility and new cargo fits into that statement.
Okay. And anything on the question in relation to sharing the provisional itinerary for the new cruise schedule?
That's something that the Port Authority puts out 12, 18 months in advance. So certainly that's going to be online and available.
Okay. Premier, I believe you wanted to add some more in relation to the cargo element of the berthing facility.
Yes, so seeing the constant battle against the misinformation that is being put out there by CPR and CNS in particular, I want to try to debunk this most recent line that somehow the cargo port we've just dreamed that up to complicate and the issue and to try to bring more support for the cruise berthing facility. We campaigned in 2013, the Progressives did, with a manifesto which included that we would build a cruise berthing facility. In 2015, we started work immediately we came into office. So the work on this has been going on since then, 6+ years now. We came in, we started work. We had the various assessments and analysis done, and we were in a position by 2015 where I, on behalf of the government, was able to make an announcement, and I made the announcement at the Chamber luncheon, that the government had decided as a matter of policy to proceed with the construction of a cruise port and an enlarged cargo port. We continued the work all through that term. The elections came in 2017. The 2017 manifesto for the Progressives says explicitly that we will build a cruise and cargo port if we are elected. It was discussed, this issue, this concept of a joint cruise port and enhanced cargo port in every strategic policy statement that the government made and every budget speech in the years since. So this is not some new idea that we have dreamed up. And I should say, the reason why the question reads the way it is, should the Cayman Islands continue to move ahead with building a cruise berthing facility and enhanced cargo port, is drafted in that way as an acknowledgement and recognition of the fact that this project has been on the way now for almost 6 years. So we've spent more than $4 million to get to this particular point. There isn't any new concrete in the water or any dredging, so that part of the project has not proceeded. We haven't signed a contract, but the project itself has been on the way now for many, many years, which is why the question is drafted the way it is. Should the government continue to move ahead?
Okay, and now we're hearing talk as well that it is not intended for the cargo facility to remain in Georgetown, but there are plans to move it to the Eastern District. Can you address that?
Yes, this is another one of Johan Moxham's bits of misinformation. I heard it myself on the Crosstalk show last week, and what is repeating it as well. Government has this government certainly, at which I've been at the helm for the last 6+ years, has never ever even discussed moving the cargo port from Georgetown. The reason for that is quite simple. You think we have a fight now to enhance what's there? Can you imagine us trying to put a cargo port in the North Sound or the South Sound or up Frank Sound? Which is some of the things I've heard discussed. I know there have been other people around, and I've seen some plans who have talked about putting a cargo port in the Sound there below breakers that would breach the reef and come across the road and lead into the lakes created as a result of the quarries. I've seen those discussions and those documents, and I've heard discussions about that, but none of that is government's initiative, nor does government endorse that. As I say, it is a big enough challenge for us to get through with enhancing the current cargo port and building a cruise port in the area that's been recognized as the natural harbor for Cayman for as long as we have been settled in Georgetown. So we are certainly not about to try putting it somewhere else. So that is a complete fabrication, and simply just something dreamed up to create more controversy and distrust about what the government is trying to do.
Okay. And the truth is, OC, that we're basically running out of time, because if we move forward as quickly as we can, 2.5 years from now, we would hope to have the cargo facility expanded and ready for use. If you start trying to look at another area, that's 7 to 10 years. If you strangle the growth of this country because cargo cannot be delivered and cannot get ashore, that is the major part of slowing down the economy itself.
Mm-hmm. We have a voice note that we're going to play now. Ms. Susan, that voice note, please, comments from one of our listeners. Okay.
Good morning. Currently, approximately 200 newly registered voters will be excluded from voting in the 19th December referendum. Some of these people have registered since July. That means that they'll have been registered for almost 6 months at the referendum, yet they will be unable to vote in the referendum. This is clearly an obstruction of our democratic rights and an injustice for these 200 Caymanians who have now registered to vote. I'm asking Honorable Premier, Honorable Deputy Premier, and the rest of Cabinet to please do all that is in your power to amend the referendum bill to allow these 200 newly registered voters to participate in the referendum. It is possible. It only requires a simple amendment to the referendum bill, amending the relevant sections of the elections law, sections 11 through 16. I would just ask if the Premier can elaborate on what is being done to ensure that these 200 individuals will be allowed to vote in the referendum.
Okay, I want to thank that caller for that. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will have our panelists respond to that caller's question. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Congratulations, I hear the family is expanding.
Yes, our family is growing bigger, but I don't know how we're going to get around. Our old car just doesn't have enough room.
You should head over to Vamp Motors and ask about the Toyota Rush. It's a 7-seater SUV with lots of room and safety features, and it's on sale for just $21,900.
Rush in to Vamp Motors for the best deal of the year on the Toyota Rush SUV. Save up to $2,600 with Vamp cashback and the Toyota factory rebate going on right now. Fuel efficient, stylish, roomy, and loaded with safety features. The Rush is the perfect SUV for you and your family, starting from just $21,900. Visit Vamp Motors and drive your deal home today while stock lasts.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
In 1996, Rotary Club Central led the way initiating a disaster fund to prepare and assist our community toward recovery. The Rotary Clubs of the Cayman Islands then expanded this valuable instrument, the Rotary Cayman Disaster Fund. Thereafter, Rotary District 7020, a group of 86 clubs over 10 countries in 16 islands across the Northwest Caribbean, grew this idea, the Rotary District 7020 Disaster Fund. Today, this Rotary Central idea has worked relief and recovery, assisting communities throughout this region. Rotary, with you before, during, and after. Rotary, connecting the world.
The Cayman Islands Credit Union would like to invite the community to International Credit Union Day on October 17th from 1 to 5 p.m. Bring your family and friends and celebrate 44 years of credit union service to the Cayman Islands community. Enjoy an afternoon of food, interactive games, and prizes. Auto and insurance companies also have special one-day only deals. International Credit Union Day, Thursday, October 17th from 1 to 5 p.m. at the Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac branches. Cayman Islands Credit Union. Global service. Global reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Honorable Alden McLaughlin, Premier of the Cayman Islands. Honorable Moses Colonel, Deputy Premier, Minister for District Administration, Tourism and Transport, Chief Officer Mrs. Strand Bawden, and Chief Project Manager at the Public Works Department, Mr. Peter Ranger. Before we answer the voice question and comment, this person has written back and said, thank you for responding to my commentary. However, my question wasn't answered. If the facility takes 2+ years to build and the Port Authority's schedule is 18 months in, then the schedule is not out. I am confused why the schedule with the port would be released before the port has been built and in advance of the referendum. My question also wasn't answered about why stores are not opening on Sundays when ships are in and other Caymanians have to pay for this. Thank you. Okay. So this was a person that had sent a WhatsApp message earlier about the schedule and everything. So
let me just quickly answer that.
Yes, sir.
The statement was that the scheduling of the cruise ships are done through the Port Authority and they're put online. It's whatever has been done is online. Mm-hmm. The second part is a question about private sector and commerce. I think that's a question that each business person will have to answer if they see an opportunity or not.
Okay, and the previous voice note that we got in relation to the registered voters, Premier.
Yes, I recognize that the voice note was from Katrina Jern. I know her voice well. The answer is simple. This referendum is being treated in the same way as would any general election for the purposes of voting. The requirements to be an elector or a voter in the Cayman Islands are set out in the Constitution and in the elections law. As such, exercising the franchise to vote must be in keeping with both the Constitution and the elections law. The qualifications of electors or voters are set out in Section 90 and Section 91 of the Cayman Islands Constitution. In relation to the official register of voters or electors, Sections 11 to 21 of the elections law set out in detail the process for a person to be included on the register of electors. Every quarter, the registering officer in each district is required to compile a revised list based upon new applications for enrollment, deaths, etc. And that would be the list that these persons are on, that she's asking to be included on the official list. There are detailed provisions for publicizing enrollment, publishing revised lists, and appealing these lists. In other words, these lists aren't final. The finalized lists then become the official register of electors. As per Section 18, subsection 3 of the elections law, any list transmitted to the supervisor shall come into force on the first day of the quarter immediately following. There is no provision within these sections for the register of electors to be revised outside of this process. It is therefore squarely within the laws of the Cayman Islands that the 1st of October 2019 official register of electors will continue to be the official list through the 31st of December 2019, and that only the electors on the 1st of October 2019 register of electors would be able to vote in a December 19, 2019 referendum. That would be the case for elections as well. There are good reasons why these provisions are in place and these delays. It is to avoid a compromise of the integrity of the electoral process. That is why there are provisions there for claims and objections to be made to names and for challenges to be brought. That is why there is this delay, which is set up by the legislation. So essentially what Ms. Jern is asking is for us to make a provision which could compromise the integrity of the electoral roll, because all of those processes with respect to claims and objections would not have had an opportunity to play out. It is the same as their objection to the verification process. Because they are so determined to reach their objective, they are prepared to throw the rules out of the way. What we are, I don't think people quite understand what we're dealing with here. You have a democratically elected government which has been elected on a mandate which includes building a cruise berthing and enhanced cargo facility. The government has been working on that project for 5+ years. 1 year ago, a group of people, now called the CPR, decided that they don't want that to happen. So they want to stop a government project. They want to change a government policy. Fine. The Constitution provides for that by way of referendum. They've taken 1 year to garner the necessary signatures to trigger a referendum on this point. But we have to ensure that this interference with the government policy of a democratically elected government must have the support of the majority of persons who are entitled to vote in this country. Hence the reason why the Constitution provides that for a referendum to succeed, it requires more than 50% of the registered voters. Because what you are seeking to do through the referendum process is to stop or alter government policy, the policy of a democratically elected government. And it would be incredibly undemocratic if less than 50% of the people who are entitled to vote, who voted for that government, were able to change government policy. You'd have a situation then where the minority view is determining government policy and government and whether or not a government project goes ahead. And so, because this is such an extraordinary measure, that is a referendum seeking to change government policy, we have to ensure that it has all of the rigor that is applied to an elections, and that only those people who are entitled to vote are able to vote. Otherwise, we compromise the integrity of the electoral process.
Okay. And that's a constitutional responsibility that Premier has very ably explained. But I think there's more to this. 3 years this campaign has been going on to stop this project. This campaign is a commercial campaign, is how it started. There are reasons why some private sector people would not want this cruise berthing facility in New Cargo Port, especially cruise berthing, to go forward. We talk about examples, exit strategies. I remember when the Water Authority was putting pipelines and started aggressively putting pipelines throughout the Cayman Islands. The major lobby to stop that was the truckers that used to carry the water from the plant to the houses. They wanted it stopped. This is very similar to part of the reason that there has been a campaign to stop the cruise berthing facility. We understand that. There's some sincere individuals involved with it, but we understand that it is a campaign. There have been major supporters. There has been quite a bit of money spent in how the campaign has run forward. And we are trying to give as much information as we have available, as it comes available, that people can make an informed decision when their opportunity comes up that the Constitution provides them with for a people-initiated referendum.
Okay, that's a good way for us to segue when we return from the break in terms of the additional information that people are calling for and what information is out there, what information will still be available to them, because that was part of the assurance given to people in terms of affixing their signature to the petition, that by having a referendum, they would be provided with more information about the port project.
Absolutely. It would be very interesting to find out how many people actually signed for a referendum because they believed China Harbor was going to get the contract, which was a tremendous amount of fake news and misinformation that was put out early.
Okay. I know we have 3 callers queued up as well. We will accommodate them at some point. We just want to ask them to be as patient as possible. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation will continue.
Sometimes having a middleman is not a bad thing, especially when it comes to insurance. Do you know that when it comes to cost, ease, speed, and peace of mind, insurance brokers ranked higher than when customers buy direct? So, for all your insurance needs, call Fidelity Insurance. We're the middleman you want. Call us today at 949-7822. Fidelity. We're good for you.
Have you seen the latest? Cayman has been ranked the most expensive place to live. It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices at Ropers. Ropers Janitorial, 949-2511. Email janitorial@ropers.ky. Clean up your spending with Ropers Janitorial, 949-2511. Ropers Janitorial also offers complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time. Ropers Janitorial, 949-2511.
The government claims the cruise berthing facility won't cost us a penny. It will be paid for by the cruise passenger who use it, not by our people or our government.
The fact is, you will be paying.
Because government is going to give the consortium development team, led by Royal Caribbean and Carnival, a portion of the cruise revenue that is currently being banked by government.
What's more, we will be repaying them
$450 million.
$250 million more
than what the facility even costs.
It's your vote, your future.
So make a decision based on fact.
You deserve the whole truth.
The Pirates Week National Song Competition is back Saturday, November 9th. This exciting cultural event showcases the best talent in the Cayman Islands with $10,000 in cash to be won. If you've got the lyrical and vocal skills, visit piratesweekfestival.com to enter today. Entry deadline Friday, 18th October. The Pirates Week National Song Competition is sponsored by AI Rentals, Ace Hardware, the Ministry of Culture, the Tourism Attraction Board, and the Cayman Music and Entertainment Association. This ad is brought to you by Radio Cayman.
In 1996, Rotary Club Central led the way initiating a disaster fund to prepare and assist our community toward recovery. The Rotary Clubs of the Cayman Islands then expanded this valuable instrument, the Rotary Cayman Disaster Fund. Thereafter, Rotary District 7020, a group of 86 clubs over 10 countries in 16 islands across the Northwest Caribbean, grew this idea, the Rotary District 7020 Disaster Fund. Today, this Rotary Central idea has worked relief and recovery, assisting communities throughout this region. Rotary, with you before, during, and after. Rotary, connecting the world.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Honourable Alden McLaughlin, Premier of the Cayman Islands, Honourable Moses Colonel, Deputy Premier and Minister for District Administration, Tourism and Transport, Chief Officer Mr. Strand Bawden, and Chief Project Manager at the Public Works Department, Mr. Peter Ranger. Minister, back to you, sir.
Thank you, O.C. I want to get back to talking about some of the questions and some of the information that has been asked by our constituents, by the people for us to talk about. One of the things that has been asked over and over are the jobs. Now, it's an established fact in the BRIA report that 4,500 jobs revolve around the cruise industry. Not talking about how many jobs revolve around the cargo. But the first question is, what kind of jobs are they? Those jobs, I want to talk about the trickle down and what this actually means and the responsibility of the government to protect. I said that this is a fork in the road. If we don't move forward in best practice and continue to offer a dynamic product, then we will have less business that exposes this group of people to less work, less income, and less opportunity. But if you think about a taxi, again, a very honorable profession, you're an ambassador for the country. But that taxi has to be repaired by somebody. They have to go to a gas station and buy gasoline for somebody. They have to get a license for that taxi. So it trickles all the way down. When you look at a restaurant owner, that's an entrepreneurial opportunity that you have, but they also have to purchase the supplies from somebody. They have to hire a chef. They have to hire a server. They have to hire bartenders. They have to make a presentation in some type of bricks and mortar that they've put their cash in to attract business. And the most important one, when you think about it, is whether it is a man or woman who is the coconut person on the dock or the road. When you look at them and what the tourists expect from them and how they interact, that's the opportunity that's made available through this. So the government, elected government, the policymakers take this extremely opportunity very, very serious about you're risking an industry that employs thousands and thousands of people, that if you don't protect it, if you don't move it forward, then what will happen if those people really don't have the opportunity and don't have the jobs? Those are the kind of things that I think people want the answers to. You know, they talked about a job fair. The job fair identifies that McAlpine would be one of the leads in that. Now, because they are part of the preferred bidder, we know who McAlpine is. We know who they hire. We know the kind of opportunities they provide for people who have worked for them for years and years and years. But you need laborers, you need electricians, you need welders, you need masons, you need heavy equipment operators, you need iron workers, you need planners, you need crane operators, as well as the administrative staff, divers, tradesmen, project managers. So that number of people who will initially be employed for 2.5 years to build the facility itself are identified as the skill sets that are needed to provide the jobs on building it. And again, it's not somebody we don't know. The preferred bidder is McAlpine, is Orion, which was Meisner, which are very, very well known to us. So there's a lot of comfort that local participation is going to be there, and their job opportunities are already known to the community and known that they will be made available. So those are hundreds of jobs that are coming up. They also pledged at the job fair they would look at how the entrepreneurial tourism operator is spoke to, given opportunity, and mentored in a way that one of the most important things they said is there is a need for more attractions. There's need to freshen that industry, and they're prepared to provide the expertise to do that and commitment. So that was also part of the job fair that would be coming up for them to put that type of expertise in a forefront that the conversation could start coming up. Maybe there's a better way for tours to operate out of the marina. Maybe there's a different type of tour that a young Caymanian could do. Those are the types of things and opportunities that this government is taking to the next level to say, you have to put on the job fair, you have to be here, we need to get these commitments out as quickly as we can, and we need to have this interaction.
Okay. Anyone wants to add anything to what Deputy Premier has said there?
No, I think he covered that very well. What I would ask the Premier if you could do is to address again this new attack really on the financial structure of the deal, where it is being asserted quite wrongly that in fact this is not a $200 million project; it's a $450 million project, according to the ad I've been hearing.
I will take a stab at that and be happy to do it. And then I've also got the chief officer here who has been working with the major project office, and he can speak to it as well. But when you look at the project itself, the first thing that we understand is that the government from the start looked at a triple P option, which was recommended by PricewaterhouseCoopers in coordination with the government and the Foreign Commonwealth Office, and we moved forward in looking at the project that the government would have no bonds and no financing and no money invested in it.
And no guarantees.
And no guarantees. So I was trying to leave a couple really simple things for people to remember, one being the example of the Water Authority and exit strategies. This one is, if you have ever driven on a toll road, when you pull up at the toll, you pay, and then it is kept. This finance package is based on every person that comes to the Cayman Islands on a cruise ship will pay a certain amount to get off the ship or stay on the ship, but it by manifest, but they will pay to go over the cruise berthing facility that is built. And when enough people have gone over that to pay off the debt, that's how the debt will be repaid. The money that's being put up for it is money that the finance package has been arranged and offered through the Verdant Group. Chief Officer, I think you can add.
Mr. Biden?
You've been
Thank you, Deputy Premier. Good morning to everyone. So Deputy Premier is correct in what he's saying. So as he said, the project is a design, build, finance, maintain. The $200 million that we talk about is the actual construction, the building of the facility. There will be additional costs in terms of, yes, the maintenance, which is estimated to be $100 million over the 25-year period of maintaining the project, correct? So there will be costs, as we all know, when we purchase a home. We may purchase a home for, these days it's getting higher and higher, but say if you
didn't even mention it, right?
Yeah, so if you say take an average $400,000 home, over the term of the mortgage that you have to pay that back, yes, you will pay more, right? But that is the commitment you make. But the initial outlay was that $400,000 that you purchased the home for. It's the same here. I would also add that the existing facility was built in a very similar fashion. So when the Royal Watler cruise terminal was built, the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association committed to $1 extra, $1 extra, in order to, that was added to every passenger that visited the Cayman Islands, that went to the loan with the bank that the Port Authority took out. So this is a similar situation where we're having the passenger tax, or a portion of it, that is actually going towards not directly a loan that the Port Authority or government takes out, but goes to Verdant Isle Port Partners for designing, building, financing, and maintaining the port. So it's not a new model. This was done before, just not, again, as Premier said, not with a guarantee that Port Authority or the government has to put up. This is actually being done by Verdant Isle Port Partners, that they're saying that they will build the facility, and that the portion of the passenger tax over 25 years will be the commitment that they'll have to recoup the funds that they've injected into the project.
Right.
So let me just finish it off. If I was to use the kind of numbers I hear being pushed all over the place of 2.5 million people times $2 or whatever it is, I would use that number in a different way. I would say you have 2.5 million people that come on a cruise ship, and for every person that comes, $10 is going to be paid to government to be distributed. Some of that is ring fence for the port, some is ring fence for the environmental fund, and if you multiply that out in the 25-year period, that means that Verdant Isle, the builder, is going to give the Cayman Island government $625 million in 25 years. Plus, they're going to deliver at the end of the 25-year license a $200 million port facility that they've maintained, that they built, that they financed. And they have left us in a position that we have a world-class product that we have offered to millions of people who have come to visit us. That numbers show the exposure for that, approximately 5% look at becoming repeat guests at no cost to the Cayman Island government or to the people. So if we do nothing right now, status quo will not stay in place. We are risking the jobs of 4,500 plus the multiplier of the trickle down. If we do what we are proposing to do and what we have worked to do through the PPP, we have an opportunity to not only solidify and grow our economy through cruise berthing, but we also have the opportunity to get that type of money paid in to the government to, most importantly, be managed and spent by the government for the people of the country.
Okay, we're going to take our last commercial break for the morning, and I really have to apologize to our callers, but time will not allow for us to take the other calls as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
The 2019 Fall Labor Force Survey and Pilot Census are currently being conducted by the Economics and Statistics Office. The Labor Force Survey collects data on the employed and unemployed persons, while the Pilot for Census 2020 will test the questionnaire prior to its finalization. Trained interviewers with ESO ID cards will visit randomly selected households in all districts. The interviews are confidential in accordance with the statistics law. No individual data will be published or disclosed. Survey data are exempt from freedom of information. For more details, please call the ESO on 516-3329.
Radio Cayman 3 to 6 mix on the weekdays. Brought to you by
Cayman Insurance Center, serving the community for 45 years. Don't take chances with your family's future. Call Denise Brown at 814-7229 or Michael Webster at 925-5433. Fitness Plus and Train with Dre. Getting in shape has never been easier with the mobile fitness app by Train with Dre and the new Eco Power Sport Art equipment.
Every day.
Every day. All the time. All the time.
Visit fitnessplus.com for more information.
Also brought to you by Merengue Town.
It's time to feel the rhythm, time to feel the vibes. It's time for Merengue Town.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning, and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio, last leg of the show this morning, Honourable Alden McLaughlin, Premier of the Cayman Islands, Deputy Premier, Honourable Moses Colonel, Chief Officer in the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport, Mr. Strand Barden, and Mr. Peter Ranger, who's the Chief Project Manager at the Public Works Department. We haven't heard from Mr. Ranger yet, not that we intended to leave you out of the conversation altogether, but we'd like to hear from you now, Mr. Ranger.
Yes, probably it's worthwhile just explaining what we've got. As Deputy Premier said, back in 2015, there's an environmental impact assessment undertaking. And then what the government said is they wanted to actually go beyond that. So what happened in 2016 was a Public Works Major Project Office were tasked with getting a new design together to even minimise the impact further. So what we've seen is a year in redesign and then 2 years in procurement. So I know the public have been waiting for the information, but what you've got to understand is it's design, build, finance and maintain. So we released information prior to today. When the designs were complete, it would be wrong. And actually this week, we've got a set of meetings with Verdantile and the Port and the NRA just to close out those designs. So within the next few days, we'll be releasing the information. But what I can do is just give you some of the early data we've got from it.
Sure.
So compared to the EIA, we've got basically the dredge volume is 31% less than it was previously. The dredge footprint area is 11% less than it was previously, and 5% less coral impact. The other thing that comes across quite a lot is a lot of public are concerned about Eden Rock and the impact on Eden Rock. So under the old Baird scheme, essentially the South Pier, as we call it, was only 350 foot away from Eden Rock. That's now been moved further north, so it's 650 foot further north. And then the dredging itself, again, all this information will be coming out in the next few days. The dredge depth is only 36 feet, and I've heard a lot of things on the radio about 60 feet, 70 feet, 80 feet. Okay, the water depth in the existing cargo pier is already 16 feet. So the amount of material we're taking off the seabed at the deepest point is 20 feet, and as you go further out to sea westwards, it tapers off to nothing. So when you get 700 feet off the existing cargo, there is no dredging. So to put that into perspective, you imagine the north and the south pier. Only 1/3 of the north pier has got dredging below it, and only 1/2 of the south pier. So there's a kind of misunderstanding that we're going to create this great big chasm, which is going to go all the way off to the drop-off. It's not going to do that. It's only 11 metres or 36 feet.
And this information, you say, will be shared?
Yes. So what we've got here, I can show you, we've got a full set of drawings. And again, government's got to do its due diligence. So Verdant came back with a very good scheme, less environmental impact. And what we had to do, obviously, is we have to go through that with the Port Authority. We had to go through it with our own consultants, check out all the details and data. That exercise has been done. We've got another set of meetings this week when we'll actually be able to finalise that and release it to the public. So it's not like we don't want to release information, but we gave a percentage now and it changed after we got the full design. People would still be back asking us for further details.
Are there any lessons, either positive or negative, that we learned from the previous work that was done at the port, the Royal Wattler terminal, for instance? Or have you used any of the data from that to assist in any way?
Well, probably the fact that as Deputy Premier said, it was when they built Royal Wattler back in 2004, 15 years have passed. And as the Deputy Director of Operations says, the way the cargo yard is growing, every 15 years you need to do a redevelopment. So actually we should have done it by now. So everybody thinks the cargo yard is all okay, but they don't go down on a Thursday night or Saturday night. So to put it into perspective, the cargo yard's about 4.7 acres in size. In the daytime it gets reduced to 2.7. Cargo gives up that 2 acres just for the buses. So you go down there at night time, there's a low, there's a row, there's cars coming off, there's stuff going up and down for the inland port. It really is at capacity, and they're really on their knees. So a lot of the information that's come out on cargo has really been false because they're already at capacity, and as Deputy Premier says, they must have that expansion in the next 3 years or it's actually going to impact the goods coming into the island.
From a marine environmental standpoint and a lessons learned?
Probably is the fact that the major piece of infrastructure on a small island is obviously the port. So in many other jurisdictions you accept the fact that you need to bring cargo in. For example, things like the Marine Park are designated either sides of a working port, and this is a working port, it's a working harbour. So again, there's a lot of misinformation about the dive community and the coral reefs. The coral that we're removing is directly below where the 6 ships come at anchor. There is no diving in the daytime there. Yes, to the north is Cheeseburger Reef, to the south is Eden Rock. The area coral that we're removing isn't dived. It can only be dived at night. The other thing is that the wreck of Balboa is going to get moved into a more accessible place. And we do accept, and the government accepts, there's always going to be environmental damage. But on a growing economy and a growing island, you need a cargo port. And the direction from the government has been to spend a lot of time and more effort to make it the environmental impact as small as possible.
Okay, we have time for some closing comments as well, starting with you, Mr. Strand.
Thank you, Mr. Dosey. Again, just on the financial model, government is not putting up any guarantees, any funding, borrowing any of the funding itself. This is all being done by the preferred bidder for the Isle Port Partners. The payback scheme is a combination of the passenger fees and an excess amount that will be added to it to pay back the amount that is to build the piers, to design the piers, to finance the piers, to maintain the piers. So again, government is not putting in any funding. As Mr. Ranger said, we'll be releasing quite a bit of information this week in terms of the design, the layout, the environmental impact that we are mitigating. That'll be coming out once we sit down with Verdant Isle Port Partners, have one last review of it, and we'll release it to the public this week. Thank you.
Excellent. Any final comments from you, Mr. Ranger?
Just that in terms of project office, our job is really to give the factual information, and what I can say is I'm neutral in all this, but there is a lot of misinformation that's been given out, and what we're hoping to do, as Mr. Strand said, is address that, to give out the full design, the full information, and then from there it's for public's choice. But all I'd urge the public to do is look at the information that's released. Got any questions, come back and ask us, but make your decision based on the facts. That's
okay. Deputy Premier.
Thank you. I just want to finish up the finance part of it, and again try to make it very, very simple to understand. We're at a crossroads. We're at a fork in the road. If we don't do anything, then we know that our business of cruise berthing will be at risk, and we will put at risk quite a few people, the number that's accepted is 4,500. I've gone through the multiplier.
And when you say at risk, what do you mean?
We want to be in a position that we can grow and manage our cruise berthing, our cruise business, which I've tried to explain today with carrying capacity and opportunity of moving business into the summer, flattening out the business for the operators in the industry itself. If we do that, if we don't do that, they're at risk. And I believe the government will have failed in their policy and their responsibility of creating opportunity. I also believe that moving forward, when you talk about the financial modeling, you take what the opportunity is, what Verdant is creating that you're going to be paid for passenger throughput, and we just identified $625 million plus a $200 million facility that will belong to the government after the 25 years. And it also allows a revenue stream that pays for the new cargo facility without the Port Authority having to put a surcharge on every container that comes over the port to pay the amortization loan that they will have to take out because cargo has to grow, Packy has to grow, and if it's not through this revenue stream, it'll have to be through some type of loan that they will have to get and pay back, and that has to go on their books. Thank you very much for having us this morning and the opportunity to be here. We have a lot more information to share. Sorry we didn't get. I guess Premier and I will have to come back.
We look forward to that. Mr. Premier.
Thank you, O.C. Yes, I don't think we really managed to get through as much information as we would have liked to today, but it is a call-in show, and we acknowledge that we have to deal with that and to answer people's questions. Mm-hmm. So, but the government is now currently engaged in a public discussion about this matter. And we will be holding a number of educational meetings, forums over the course of the next few weeks. Mm-hmm. And we will have at those meetings the experts, the technical folk, who will be able to, we will continue to articulate government policy, but they will be available to answer any of the technical questions and concerns. As Mr. Ranger has said, there's a great deal of misinformation that is out there under the guise of facts. I've seen the work that CPR are doing, and quite frankly, it is alarming, really, the way they have spun or are spinning much of this information. So it is important that people do get the facts. It is important that people don't simply believe what is said either by government or by CPR, but look at the facts themselves. The government is striving to present factual information so that people are able to make an educated choice, because the consequences of derailing this project are going to be extremely grave. I think many people have forgotten the state of the economy and the unemployment that existed when we took office 6.5 years ago. And now those people who work in the tourism industry, those people who live, whose means of living is a result, directly or indirectly, of the impact that cruise visitors have, will understand what I am saying. I know, as the Minister, the Deputy Premier knows full well as the Minister of Tourism, the pressures we were under when we took office, because there were so many people who could not get enough business, so many people that were out of work. Now that those pressures have gone away, in large part because of the policies of this administration, but also a reflection of the global economy. Many people forget. I say to many people out there, do not just listen to those people who sit in the comfort of their air-conditioned offices and go through work every day. Those of you out there who have to hustle every day to make $1, to raise your families, to keep a roof over your head as a result of cruise business, as a result of tourism business. Make it your objective to preach the gospel about what keeps the wolf from your door, and help us to convince the majority of people in this country that what we are doing is sensible, thoughtful, and absolutely required for the continuation of Cayman's tourism industry to continue to be able to thrive and continue to be the place of choice for the cruise visitors who make up our clientele.
Okay. Before you go, just one more question. Some people have commented and criticized the role that the consortium and the Verdant Isle group has taken in relation to the dialogue. As partners in this, should they be participating in the public dialogue and getting their viewpoints across as well? Because some people seem to object to that.
Well, one of the great ironies of this is that the major criticism is there's not enough information. When the Verdant Isle group, the port partners were here recently, they invited CPR to come and sit down around the table and talk. CPR refused to attend. They invited the official opposition. They also refused to attend. Now I say to myself, who better to provide this information, to answer these questions, these concerns that you have, than those who are charged now with the responsibility of executing the project? They are the ones that have the various experts on board. The government experts, we have made them available as much as we possibly can. You're not accepting that. You say that's not enough information. So we bring the people who are going to execute the project. And you say you don't want to talk to them. So I have to ask myself, is it information you're looking, or simply a basis on which to continue to object by saying, well, I don't have the information? There are none so blind as those who will not see, and none so deaf as those who will not hear.
Okay. Gentlemen, I want to thank you very much. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension for the record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. I also want to apologize for those callers that we were unable to accommodate this morning, but we only have a show that goes on for 2.5 hours, and of course we have to pay our bills during that period of time as well. But hopefully other opportunities will arise for you, and we will try to accommodate you as much as possible. I also want to remind you that we are brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Continue to debate about the referendum and the port project, but kindly ensure that the debate is a healthy one and one that does not create animosity, because at the end of the day, we all have to live in these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands that we call home.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Rotary Central, for more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. Fidelity Bank, for all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you. And Roper's Janitorial. Complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time.